This is TWiT.
You know, like everybody, I use software every day, rely on it. And one of the weird things about the era we're in now is that mature software products are being updated every month for some reason, like their mobile apps. And I don't understand what they're doing. And if they're innocuous, I don't care. If you can turn it off, I don't care. But, you know, I'm a writer. Microsoft Word is obviously the central tool to my life in many ways. And it has been getting insurtified for sure. And
in what way, Paul? Let's be specific.
Oh God, in every way, Leo. So all right, so in what way? In what way is it not being insured? No, so in the good old days, if I wanted to do something like find a word in a document, I could hit Control F, and this little dialogue came up floating over the window, and I could look and find every instance, and it was really nice, and that thing would never be in the way because it was so small. And then some time ago, they turned it into a pane on the left. And now in the latest version of Word, it's a giant pane on the right that actually blocks the text I'm trying to find. It actually gets in the way. So the workaround I have temporarily until they insurtify this part of the product is you can do a Control H, which is for find and replace. And there's actually still a find tab on that thing. It's a little window and it still works. And that's kind of, okay, that's fine.
But as long as you're careful not to press the replace part where it now replaces it with nothing.
Exactly. Right. Right. Although, you know, replace all is a good thing to have if you need it. But it's just, I don't like UI that gets in the way. I don't understand this. I brought up this app the other day. The thing that finally prompted me to write this was I brought up the app and it said, hey, have you heard of OneDrive? You should think about using OneDrive. And I'm like,
no app should say, hey.
Idiot. First of all, this document I'm working on is saved in OneDrive. I pay for OneDrive through Microsoft 365 Family, which you should know.
Yeah.
Be smart. And by the way, you can't figure this out, but your AI stuff's going to work fine. What are you kidding me? To me, this is crazy. But the other example, well, the other big thing for me is Word arbitrarily saves some setting changes that you make to your Microsoft account. There's no way to find a list of what those things are. But I can tell you it's nothing important. Like one of the things that it saves is your theme choice. So if you like dark mode, you're going to have dark mode everywhere you are, no matter what the underlying system is using.
Does it still use the template file and save that?
Yes, it does.
So a lot of settings are in there, right?
Okay, but I'm talking about settings related to the application, not to the document.
Right.
Yes, your normal ... actually, I believe does. I don't change mine, but I think that does sync to your Microsoft account. Right. That's an interesting point. But so, years ago, 2007, Microsoft added the ribbon to the core Office apps. The following product was probably 2010, I guess. They kind of added it to the rest. The ribbon was controversial at the time. Although I have to say, this is one thing I kind of agreed with because the top 10 of 10 feature requests for Office were features that were already in Office that nobody could find, right? So their idea was, we're going to put all the UI out there. This thing with toolbars and menus was too small for all of the features that are in these products. And it was like, okay, I on some level, I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. However, I only use some tiny percentage of features and a lot of things I do with keyboard shortcuts anyway. So the ribbon is kind of a big UI to me, and I like to get it out of the way. So you can hide the ribbon, And then Leo will know because I talked about this incessantly for a couple of years. But at some point, Microsoft moved to something called the simplified ribbon. If you use Outlook on the desktop, you'll see that in the Windows version of the product. It's a small version. It's toolbar is what it is really, but it's a small simplified ribbon. If you use the Office products on the web, I know it's in Word and it's probably in Excel and PowerPoint. And it's just it is what I said it was. It's a simplified ribbon. It's nice. They were going to bring this to Word on the desktop. And I waited 2 years for that to happen. And instead, what they did was they came up with something called the personalized toolbar. The idea here is that you use Word for some amount of time after this feature has been installed. And then in the background, it examines the things you use, like which buttons you click on and everything. And then one day it says, hey, guess what? We can make a new simplified toolbar for you. Nice. Do you want us to do that? Yeah, absolutely. And it hides the ribbon and it puts up a simplified tool. So it's basically the simplified ribbon, but it's supposedly personalized to you. Nice. That thing doesn't sync. So every time I go to a new computer, and I go to a new computer all the time because I review computers, I have to use Word for a little while. Weeks will go by and it will say, hey, we can make a personalized toolbar. Would you like us to? Yes, I would. And it makes the exact same frickin' toolbar that there's no way for me to turn it on manually or say that I always want it on it just doesn't sync. I don't.
And that's exactly the thing that should be synced, because it's literally based on the thing
it's personalized to you. Exactly. Yeah. Supposedly, right? So between these things,
you need to personalize over and over again.
Yeah. There's a point where a tool that you rely on gets in the way so much that it's no longer helping, it's hindering, right? And I'm right on the line with Word. Like the things that are good about Word are still good. For myself, unfortunately, in my particular use case, I have to output most of what I write to WordPress, and getting clean code into WordPress is job one. I can't have formatting codes going on in the background. So when I use something like a Notion or Typora or my normal Markdown editor or Word for the web, oddly, Google Docs, if I paste anything in from those apps, there's a lot of gobbledygook HTML code in the background, including in some cases things that impact the font size or weight. And no. This has to be super clean. It
would be VS Code for that.
Yeah. By the way, VS Code is absolutely one of the things I've looked at. I don't remember anymore, because you can do Markdown, et cetera, et cetera.
You'll do Markdown.
You can do straight HTML too, I guess, if you wanted to. But
I've been telling the joke about Word and all the Office products. Just like they're so far down the version numbers now, they're at the point where they've hit. They now like the putting in features because they get to take them back out again. So they get two for given feed. Right.
I just want, if this thing could, like, if there was a way I can work around Find, because I can do Control H. If I could save that personalized toolbar, I maybe wouldn't be having this conversation. Maybe if it wouldn't show me ads for things I'm already using and pay for, maybe. But I'm actively seeking to replace this thing that I've relied on for, I don't know, 25 years or more.
It's annoying you. I mean,
it's incredible.
My general concern is anytime a piece of software is too busy with what it wants to do than to interfere with what I want to do.
Right. I think this is the general impression that Windows 11 gives to a lot of, I will call technical people. I think most normal people use it and think nothing. I've asked multiple people. I've watched as friends and family have upgraded. And I say, what do you think? And waiting for them to say, hey, what happened to, and they're all like, oh, I don't really even notice it. So like, okay. So normal people, it's probably fine. For the people watching this show, you and I, us, there are things where you're like, wait, hold on a second. What's going on here? There are these little workflows that I rely on that you've taken away. And every time, it's back. But when you used to right click on the taskbar and not get Task Manager, it was like, you have that one moment of, oh, right, I know I have to do this other thing now.
Right. And oh yeah, right. I'm routinely reminded you moved my cheese for no apparent reason.
Yep. So I wrote this article about Word. I was just freaking out about it. I'm like, I just can't, I just don't understand what they're doing.
Right.
And the next day I woke up and Microsoft updated Microsoft Paint. Now, this one is harder for me. It's even harder because Microsoft Paint, as goofy as it sounds, because people are like, Paint, Notepad, what are you talking about? I use these apps every single day. Every day. I use Microsoft Paint to make my Christmas card, which I included an example of in the article that I wrote about this. Microsoft updated Notepad for Windows 11 as part of some whatever update, and it's fine. It's the same app. It looks better. It supports tabs, which I don't care about. All the keyboard shortcuts work. It does dark mode and light mode.
No breaking.
It's a better version of the app. It's a superset. It's better.
Right.
Perfect. And then they apparently handed off the Paint upgrade to some kid who was here who faked his way through college and doesn't actually know how to do anything. And then they threw that thing into the product like it made any sense. So the updated Paint does not support light mode or dark mode. It just is in bright white mode. It looks like a flashlight in your face.
That's the old version. It always has been.
Well, the old version used to at least be like kind of tan or off, it was like light colored, but it wasn't like a spotlight. Now it's like a spotlight. Doesn't support menu-based keyboard shortcuts, right? You can't go Alt F, blah, 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 whatever.
Those are broken.
Those are broken. That was broken. Yep, they used to work. It doesn't support dark mode, like, it should. Kind of weird. They would do a Notepad right and not do Paint right. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Okay. But one of the things I do with Paint every single day is I usually change the height of things. The promo graphics, my site are in 16:9 aspect ratio. A lot of screens today are 16:10. I got to do some cropping. I manually kind of work with that, and then I do the crop, and I just I use keyboard shortcuts. It's called image properties, but it's Control E. And this little dialog comes up. There's two boxes, width and height. Width is selected. So you can type in your number, whatever you want. You can type in the number. You can tab over to the other one and you hit enter and you're done. And I'm out. And I do this every day, all day long. I do this today. I've probably done it 5 or 6 times.
Right.
But then they updated it. So latest version of Paint, that dialog has been restyled to look more like a Windows 11 thing. So it's humongous because everything has to be huge now.
Huge.
The width box is not selected when this thing comes up. So if you start typing, nothing happens. To get to the width box, you have to tab 5 times. 5.
You know that it's exactly.
Yeah, because I do it every day. To get to height, which is the one I really want, you have to tab 6.
So you got it memorized. Right. Tap.
Yeah. All right, here's the thing. So I changed the height. So in other words, like I have an image that's 1066 by 666. It has to be 1066 by 600. So I change. I type 600. I hit enter. Nothing happens because now enter doesn't work on anything in that box unless it's the OK button is selected. We just talked about how things are built into Windows and they just work, and you don't have to do anything. You have to. You know what it is? I drive around Pennsylvania and people are driving in the rain without their lights on, or I'm driving at night and they're driving without their lights on. These people are idiots. And you have to do work for that to happen. Your car's lights are on automatically all the time. You had to have looked at it and said, nope, and put it on some other thing because you know better than God or something. I don't know. This is what this is. They're like, these features like auto select the right thing when you go to the dialogue and hit enter anywhere and have it work. That's just built in. You had to strip out code to get rid of that.
No,
you got
the control keys
work,
but the alt keys don't. Like if they were all broken, I'd say, well, it's just a bug.
It's just what is there any quality control at this company?
An intern did this for sure.
Yes, that's exactly. Thank you. That was my conclusion as well. Exactly.
And an intern who's never used an alt key in their life.
Yes, they're like, I'm confused. I use a Mac. I don't understand keyboard shortcuts. We don't need those.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
All right, let's talk about Microsoft Teams. This is the biggest one for me. Every morning at 9:00 at ET, I get on a call with Brad. We do a little podcast thing. When I'm home, it depends on the computer. This is the interesting thing. Mm-hmm. When I'm home, I would say at least twice a week, some setting is not correct related to my headphones or the microphone. Right. It's on the wrong device. Or even the cameras happen sometimes. It's crazy. So since I've been here in Mexico, every single day we've connected. I can't hear him because it's connected to a headphone jack on this microphone that doesn't have anything in it. It's just sitting here empty. And
never been used.
Here I'm going to supply advice to Microsoft because I can solve this problem right now. You have a feature called preferred audio device or preferred whatever device, preferred microphone. And the idea is no matter what else is going on in the computer, I don't care what someone selected out in Windows or is using in other apps. If this device is here, use it every frickin' time. I don't change things. It should just work every time.
Windows can detect that there's headphones plugged in or not.
Yes, it can.
It's selecting the headphones that
I don't know what it's doing. I don't know why. There's no sense. There's no point here where I can say, well, I understand what. No, nothing has changed. No configuration has changed. It's just wrong every day. By the way, we're using a product called Zoom, which you probably have heard of today. Zoom always works fine.
Yep.
So when I know there are people in the Microsoft space like, oh, Zoom, we should have had that. That should have been Skype or, Teams should. You know what? Here's a shocker, guys. Zoom works. It works. I connected to this call. I haven't used Zoom in days. No problem. It's on the mic. It's on the right headphone. Right. Everything's working. Perfect. Finally, we'll send it with the real burger of the story. Microsoft Edge.
Oh boy.
Microsoft Edge was just updated to version 111. And this is the one where, just like Windows 11 Moment 2 added the stupid big Bing icons everywhere, they added a stupid big Bing icon to the freaking toolbar that you cannot get rid of. What?
Yeah. That whole right side tab. Because we needed to use more screen space.
This thing supports mouse over. So not only, you don't even have to click it. You just go near it now. And it's like, hello, did you want to chat? I can be creative, balanced, or precise. What is going on?
What?
Yeah.
I want to talk to somebody.
It's a digital landmine feature.
Yes.
It's like, I dare you to drag your mouse anywhere near this.
Yeah, exactly. But I need to click the thing right.
Yeah.
It's.
And I'm not 20 anymore. My mousing is not that precise.
Exactly. Look, I'm 56 years old. I'm lucky I can get anywhere near it. You know, I don't know what's going on. Listen, I've had an entire career of frustration thanks to Microsoft. Like I'm not a stranger to this, but I feel like it's escalated in this, what I'll call the Windows 11 era, that there is no quality controller. You know, one of the things that's actually kind of nice about Windows 11 is the look and feel. It's pretty. It's elegant looking.
It's
nice.
Aesthetic. Yeah.
It's a nice aesthetic. But the thing still, like, it's not, I don't want the image properties dialog to be beautiful. I want it to work. You know, like can't we have both? Why can't it be pretty and good? No? All right. I know I'm an insane person, but I just
want to welcome the old Paul Thurrott back. We missed you, Paul. We missed you.
Listen, I want everything to be sunshine and unicorns. I do. I really do. I need it. But it just isn't.
No, and I understand. I do.
This stuff is nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like I can appreciate decisions I don't agree with. You know, if it's like, okay, I wouldn't do that, but okay, I get it. This stuff is just nonsense.
Is the Bing thing like a marketing strategy? That because it's not a tooltip, right? But I actually put my mouse over it. It gives me a tooltip called Discover, and then also takes over a chunk of the screen.
Yeah.
So somebody did go to the trouble of still implementing the tooltip, which is all you should do.
I know.
Put my mouse over your icon.
I just don't. I don't know.
Is there a flag for booby trap?
I just want to give Paul a hug at this point. You just, sorry. I should listen. You ever watch a TV show? You're watching a TV show or a movie, right? And it doesn't matter what's going on. I'll pause a show and be like, listen, I'm not a law enforcement official, but I understand that what they're doing here is nonsense. Like, this wouldn't happen in the real world. And it kind of takes you out of it, right? So when I use Windows now, I use like Word or Paint or Teams or Edge. I'm like, you know what? I'm not a professional developer. I could do this right. Like, you should be able to do better than me if you work there.
How did this get out the door?
Yes. Like, that makes no sense. That's my point, I guess. You know, who's running the show over there? What's going on?
And I suppose it's impossible to find somebody who could respond to that, right? Microsoft's not gonna have that conversation.
It's easy to get a response. That's great feedback.
Yes,
that's the response.
Oh, Paul, did you mention this in the feedback hub? Oh, you mean that black hole thing that's in the corner of Windows 11 where you flush ideas down the toilet? No, I didn't put it in the feedback hub. I want people to actually know about it, so I wrote about it on my site instead. You know, if there was any sense that Microsoft gave a crap about this, I would absolutely talk to them directly about it. But everything I see suggests otherwise, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, well, Windows is not the center of the company anymore. Like,
do you think?
Yeah.
My God, it's not even. It's barely in the company, from what I can tell now.
Who's the intern that chooses Windows?
I know. Well, I don't think interns get a choice. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who's the qualified developer who's looking to advance his career? Who's like, you know, where I'm going to make a difference? I'm going to fix Microsoft Paint. I don't think that's happening.
This is one of the things that is coming up now that companies are laying off tens of thousands of employees. You know, Facebook's doing another 10,000 after 11,000 last fall, and I'm starting to see stories about like Facebook collecting developers like Pokemon, like hoarding them but not using them. And I'd like that job. Can I have that job? And remember, one of the questions Elon asked when he went to Twitter, which I mocked at the time, but maybe wasn't far off. Maybe he kind of understands this sometimes happens at these big tech companies. He said, how many employees are not doing anything? They're just reporting and not doing anything. And then I guess the other question is, how many developers because of lack of oversight or lack of QC or something, are subpar. They're not doing a good job. This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. Audit Pro from ACI Learning modernizes the way your team learns. Earn NASBA-approved CPE credits through engaging training curriculum led by highly respected industry experts. With more than a 90% completion rate, Audit Pro courses are proven to be the most effective and efficient way to earn your CPE credits. Learn more at go.acilearning.com/twit.